Okay.
Okay, please note. Thank you.
Can you guys see me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good evening to ladies and gentlemen. Today we from Group 1 will deliver a presentation. The topic is about an overview about management. So let me introduce my group members. Firstly, my name is Siti Nur Shafanis binti Ahmad Razif. Second, in my group is Izwan bin Muhammad Yusof, Kevin Raj Naidu, and the last one is Azizul bin Abdul Aziz. So Azizul, you can proceed to the next page. You can proceed. Okay. Here is the overview in our presentation. In this presentation, we will cover 6 important subtopics that you guys need to know, which is first, tell who managers are and where they work. Second, define the management. Third, describe what managers do. Fourth, explain why important to study about management. Fifth, describe the factors that are reshaping and redefine management. The last one is history module, which is history of management groups. Next. Next slide, I will tell you about who is manager and where do they work. Managers is a person who works in organization, as we can define the person deliberate arrangement of a people brought together to accomplish a specific purpose. For the common characteristic of organization, there is 3, which is goal, people, and also structure. Next. From this slide, we can see the 3 characteristics that I spoke earlier. First is goal. Goals mean express the purpose of particular organization. Second is people. People is someone who make decision and reach organization goods. And the last one is the structure. This is systematically define, limit, and guide the member of organization behavior. Next. How are manager different from non-manager employees? Non-managerial, people who works directly on a job or task and have no responsibility for overseeing the works of others, such as associate team members or what we can see around us like a cashier. And for managers, the managers is individual in the organization who direct the activities of others. Next. Here we can see the level of management level that conquer 3, which is top managers, medium managers, and first line managers. Next. What title do managers have? First, top managers. Top managers is the person those at the top of organization. Example, the CEO make decisions about the direction of the organization. They establish the policy and philosophy that affect all the organization members. Second, middle managers. Middle managers fall between the lowest and the highest of organization. Sometimes they manage another managers. They are responsible for this part is to translating the goals by top manager into the specific detailed tasks. And the last one is a first line managers, which their responsible is for directing activity of manage the employees, such as supervisor and also team leaders. Next. Define management. Next. What is management? Management is the process of getting things done effectively and efficiently with and through others people. Efficiency means doing the task correctly by doing the things right and getting the most output from the least amount of input. For effectiveness means doing the right things by doing those work tasks that help the organization reach their goal. Next. As illustrated here, efficiency is concerned with the means of getting things done by first doing the task correctly, minimize both resources used for the cost, and lastly, getting the greatest output from the smallest amount of inputs. For effectiveness, is concerned with the end that is doing the right task that result in attaining organization goals. Next. I will pass to Izwan to continue the presentation.
Hi, I will continue the presentation now. So I'll start with describe what managers do. Next slide, please. So what managers do according to the function approach, managers perform certain activities or function as they direct and oversee others' work. Earlier in 20th century, a French industrialist by the name of Henry Fayol proposed that all managers perform 5 management activities, that is planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and control. But today, management function has been condensed instead of 5 to 4, which is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Next. So why manager have to do this planning, organizing, leading, and controlling? The answer is to achieve organizational stated purpose. Next slide. So let's see a bit closer to the management function aspect. The first aspect is planning. So planning is defining goals, establishing strategy, and developing sub-plans to coordinate activities. This is to make sure all the workers can focus on what needs to be done. Next is organizing. Organizing is determining what needs to be done, how it will be done, and who is going to do it. And then next is leading, directing and coordinating the work activities of an organization people. The last one is controlling. Controlling involves monitoring activities to ensure that they are accomplished according to plan. Next slide. I'll pass it to Kevin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Izwan. So I'll be explaining on the management role. In the year 1960, Henry Mintzberg did an empirical study on 5 chief executives. So what he found out that managers engaged in a number of short-term activities because they had encountered problems at work, and most of their activities didn't last longer than 9 minutes. Based on this finding, Mintzberg categorized the behavior expected from managers, and he concluded that managers performed 10 different but interrelated roles. This finding he published in his book Mintzberg on Management Inside Our Strange World of Organization in the year 1990. And these 10 roles are further grouped around 3 roles. Next slide. With the 3 roles are interpersonal roles, informational roles, and decisional roles. Interpersonal roles involve people and other duties that are ceremonial and symbolic in nature. There are 3 roles which managers are expected to take, which is figurehead, leader, and liaison. As a figurehead, managers are responsible for ceremonial, symbolic, and legal responsibilities. They are looked upon by their subordinates as someone with authority, and also they are a source of inspiration to other people. Managers should also be a leader where they should lead other people well and organize or give responsibilities in the correct order. And managers should also be a liaison where they should be able to network with other people to get the required resources for the company. This networking can be internal or external. The next role is the informational roles, which involves collecting, receiving, and giving information. There are 3 roles, which is monitor, disseminator, and spokesperson. As a monitor, managers are required to scout around for information regarding on how to improve their company. And they are also required to apply relevant changes to the organization. And as a monitor, they should look also on the productivity of their workers or employees to ensure that they achieve maximum output. And while that, they also have to monitor the well-being of their people. As a disseminator, managers should give the correct info to other people without the meaning being lost. And as a spokesperson, managers are people where they kind of represent the organization. So whatever they say, it will reflect back on the organization. Therefore, it's important that they transmit the correct info to other people and also to other companies as well. The next roles is the decisional roles, which comprises of making decisions and choices. There are 4 roles, which is entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator. As an entrepreneur, managers are required to create and control change and also solve problems and generate ideas for the company. Whenever there's any issues in the company, managers should act as a disturbance handler, where they should mediate any problems between workers or employees if there is any roadblock. As a resource allocator, managers should be able to know where to use the resources that they receive and also allocate the correct amount of funding for your company. And as a negotiator, managers should take part in direct negotiations within their company. Next slide, please. The table here shows the brief idea of handy Mintzberg, which involves the interpersonal, informational, and decisional roles. The interpersonal roles is mainly about managers providing information to other people. The informational roles is about managers processing information that they are given with or have. And decisional roles is about managers using the information to do what is right for the company. And both the informational and decisional roles, the feedback will be passed back to the interpersonal roles. Next slide. So Mintzberg did a further study, and he found out that managers influence action in 3 ways. The first one is managing actions directly, such as handling the budgets and handling the budgets for the company. Managing people who take action. For example, managers are responsible to organize motivational talks for the company, organizing ice-breaking sessions, and this is all to improve the communication and also a relationship between the people in the company. And also managing information that propels people to take action. This is related to handling the budgets and distributing the work in the company. Next slide. So as a manager, they should have 4 skills, which is the conceptual skills, interpersonal skills, technical skills, and political skills. Conceptual skills is important for managers to analyze whatever issues that they have that they are required to handle. Interpersonal skills is also important because managers, they communicate with a lot of people, so it's important that they have the right amount of interpersonal skills to give the correct info and make sure that other people are able to understand what they are trying to explain. The technical skills managers should have. The technical skills is about the required.
Sorry, Kavin. Harith, can you mute the microphone, please, Harith? Harith Yaakob. Okay, you can proceed, Kavin. Sorry.
Thank you, Prof. So the technical skills is about skills that managers should have when they are managing, such as planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. And political skills is important as well for managers because they need to build a base for their company. And these political skills is important when managers need to negotiate or communicate with other companies to get the required resources for their company. Next slide. So why is it important to study about management? Next slide. There's two importance of studying management. The first thing is interest in improving way organizations are managed. Interaction between people happens in daily life. Therefore, there is some sort of management, and if there is no proper management, it's proven by certain organizations that have been badly managed, and because of this, they have gone out of business. Two of the example of the companies are Gimbal and Eastern Headlines. And the second importance is people will either manage or be managed. For example, after graduating, you will be entering the workforce. So you will either be managed or managed. So understanding of management forms the foundation in which management skills and abilities are built. Even if you are not a manager, you will definitely have some sort of managerial responsibilities. Therefore, it is important to learn management. Now I'll pass back to Iswan to continue for his part. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. I'll continue. 1.5, describe the factors that are reshaping and redefining management. Next slide, please. The first factor is customer satisfaction. So why customer is important? Because without customer, business will cease to exist. There will be no one to use your service. Before this, the managers have this kind of attitude, which is let the marketer worry about the customer. But now all employees, everybody have needs to have good attitude towards customer. It's no longer only the marketers' work to entertain the customer. So managers must create a customer responsive organization, meaning all the people inside the organization where employees are friendly and cautious, accessible, knowledgeable, prompt in responding to customers' need, and willing to do what's necessary to please the customer. Okay, next. The next factor is innovation. So first, let's define innovation. So innovation means doing things differently, exploring new territory, and taking risks. In terms of doing your work, it is to keep looking on how to do your work or business better. So we go to example. Before this, the traditional way of doing business is offline. We take ESPN as the example. Before this, they only do business through airing and showing sport events such as football matches, badminton tournaments through television. But now they are doing it online, and they have developed new business model. For example, ESPN is integrating new technology with products like ESPN 3D. It's the first 3D channel on cable, live streaming on demand video, which is online. And then they are collaborating with Microsoft Xbox Live to do it online, and the use of virtual technology to highlight various sports event, people, and feeds. Okay, next. The last factor is employee loyalty. According to finding from a group called Gallup organization, previously, most important variable in employee productivity and loyalty isn't pay or benefit or workplace environment. It is the quality of the relationship between employees and their direct supervisor. This factor covers up to 70% of employees' engagement. But from recent study, the finding from Tower Watson, since the economic downturn, employees may be more concerned with factors such as stress level and payment or base pay salary, and less concerned with their managers. However, Tower Watson also found that the way a company manages its people can significantly affect its financial performance. Thank you. I'll pass to the next presenter. Next.
Okay, thank you. Dear Professor Faiza and fellow friends, now I will continue with the history module, history of management roots. For information, management history helps us to understand what today's managers do. And I will brief you the entitled timeline that discuss the key milestone of the management theory and also the key person and key factor that in the management concept. Early management has been existed in year 2000 before Christ until 18th century, where management practice has been practiced a long time, and the management function have been existed for thousands of years. In 1911 till 1947, the classical approach began. This is where the discipline of management began to evolve, and the rule and principle were developed to be used and to be taught. And in late 1700s till 1950s, the behavioral approach came in place, focusing on the action of workers and way of motivation and leading employees to get the high level of performance. And then in 1940s to 1950s, the quantitative approach started, which used the various quantitative techniques such as statistic optimization model and computer simulation, and also provided tools to ease the job of the manager. And in 1960s until now, the contemporary approach began on focusing on managers concerned outside the organization. And in 1960s, there are two approaches, which are system approach and also contingency approach. For the early management, the example for the proof of the management is the construction of vegetation pyramid. This construction involves planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, and this is the job of the manager to direct and oversee 100,000 of workers in 20 years in order to make sure that the construction is done accordingly as planned. Another example is the city of Venice, where the Venetians manage floating assembly line to collect materials and also the riggings. And they use warehouse inventories to keep the track of material and also management function to keep the resources. For classical approaches, the scientific management described by Frederick W. Taylor as a method of significantly finding the one best way to do a job. Unlike Taylor, the Henry Fayol and Max Weber described general administrative theory as the constituted focus on what constituted good management, and the Henry Fayol identified 5 management functions and 14 management principles, and Max Weber described bureaucracy as ideal rational form of organization. For behavioral approaches, the early management writers recognized importance of people in organization success. Robert Owen concerned about deplorable working condition and proposed to have an idealistic workplace. And Hugo Mustenberg, the pioneer in the industry psychology, suggested the psychological test for the selection of employee, and Mary Parker Follett recognized that organization could be viewed from both individual and group behavior. There's also a Houghton study that's conducted at Houghton Works of the Western Electric Company provided new insight into individual group and behavior. And this study concluded that group pressure can significantly affect individual productivity. For quantitative approach, which use the quantitative technique to make a good decision and make to ease the job. And this approach evolved from mathematical and statistical solution developed for military problems during World War II. And in 1950s, W. Edward Deming and Joseph M. Durant's idea became the basis total for quality management, which is the management philosophy to continual improvement and responding to customer needs and expectation. For contemporary approaches, in 1960s, there were 2 approaches, which one is the system approach, viewed organization function as open system, and they were influenced by interact with environment. And another approach is contingency approach by Brad Fiedler, which stated that organization, employees, and institutions are different and require different ways of managing. And starting in 1980s till now, the dramatic changes in information technology connect everyone wired or wireless, and employees are working at home and remotely managed by the managers. For the conclusion, I'll pass back to Noor. Thank you.
So for the conclusion, what I can conclude Firstly is seeing that organization are well managed. So as we need to deal with the organization daily, so we have to vested interest in seeing all the organization well managed. Secondly, the reality that in your career you will either be managed or be managed, and by study and know about the management, so we can gain insight into the way our managers and employees behave and how the organization functions. Next. So for the reference to create this presentation, we refer from books Fundamental of Management, Essential Concept and Application, edition by Stephen P. Robbins, David DeCenzo, and Mary Coulter. That's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Group 1, yeah?
Yes,
Group 1? Okay, group
Yes.
1. Cuma I'm a bit surprised why just now you wanted to begin without me.
Sorry, Prof. We are asking also our deputy leader, and he said that we can
Because
begin.
I am waiting in another window because I forgot to join this window.
Sorry, Prof.
Okay, never
We have
mind.
problem with the
It's
web.
okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay,
Prof.
it's okay. It's okay. All right. Okay. So I think this is recorded, right? So you can stop the recording and join to my link. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Prof.